You know that moment,
Hmm.
someone asks you something and your mind just blanks for a second.
Hmm.
Or maybe you just, well, genuinely don't have the info. What's the usual response?
Yeah.
The go-to.
It's almost always, I don't know, simple, honest, right.
Right.
But, as we were digging into the sources for this deep dive, it got pretty clear that those three words, well, they can sometimes fall a bit flat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can feel like a real conversational brick wall sometimes.
Definitely.
So we looked at this stack of material articles, communication tips, even some linguistic stuff you shared, and we were really looking for something, more than just, I don't know.
Yeah, and that basically became our mission here.
Yeah.
About he'll pull out the most useful, um, the most engaging ways to say you're unsure.
Right. Things that help you sound more natural, maybe more confident.
And keep the conversation actually moving. That's key.
Yeah.
Even when you don't have the answer right there.
Hmm. This isn't just about dodging a phrase, is it? It's more about turning those moments of uncertainty into like better communication opportunities. So you're about to get a kind of toolkit, ways to sound engaged, even if you don't know the answer immediately. Let's unpack this.
Okay, so first off, why should we maybe try to avoid just a plain, I don't know. What did the sources say?
Well, the biggest thing that came up again and again was that it can just sound too abrupt, too short.
Yeah, blunt even.
It's like putting a full stop where the conversation really needs, I don't know, a comma or something.
That's a good way to put it. Think about, what do you think of the new marketing plan?
You just say, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's the conversation go? Nowhere. It just dies.
Awkward silence.
Yeah. Exactly. And it can feel unhelpful, maybe even a little cold, whereas even a tiny little change to the phrase shows you're, well, more willing to engage.
Hmm. One source really highlighted that, didn't it? How just adding something else keeps that connection going.
Yeah, like your example. I'm not sure, but I can look into it.
Totally different vibe. Worlds of difference.
Absolutely. So let's start with some really straightforward, everyday replacements, easy wins. What was the first one we pulled out?
Okay, the simplest step up seems to be, not sure.
Right. It's still honest, it's polite, but it just softens the blow compared to, I don't know.
Yeah, it acknowledges the question without just, slamming the door. Like,
Hmm.
what time does the bus get here? Instead of just, I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe check the schedule online. It feels nicer.
It does. And then maybe a bit more casual. Something else that came up was, I have no idea.
Yeah, that one can have a bit more punch,
Mm,
Shows surprise, maybe, or like friendly confusion.
right. Like, where on earth did Sarah get that bright green scarf?
Hmm. I have no idea. It's
Ugh.
conversational, right? Not dismissive.
Exactly. And we also saw phrases that, even in simple situations, show a bit more initiative, like, let me check and get back to you.
Oh, yeah, even casually. That beats just a shrug, doesn't it?
Totally. Do we have any coffee left?
Let me check and get back to you. Off you go to the kitchen. Simple.
Okay, so those are the easy swaps, basic upgrades. But the sources also gave us some more nuanced strategies, phrases that do a bit more work than just saying you're uncertain.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Like, how about using a phrase that actually praises the question itself?
Ah, yes. That's a good question. This is a great one.
Right?
Loads of sources pointed this out. It buys you a second to think, for one.
Yeah, definitely.
And it also kind of subtly compliments the person asking. Shows you think their question is worth considering.
Exactly. It makes your pause seem thoughtful, not just blank.
Mm-hmm. So someone asks, what does ephemeral mean?
Instead of just dunno, you go, that's a good question. I think it means temporary, but let me just double check that.
See, makes you sound engaged, curious, even if you need that moment.
Okay, another really useful one, especially for setting boundaries or expectations, honestly, is I'm not the best person to answer that.
Ooh, that is a good one. Very useful.
It's powerful, isn't it?
Mm.
It's not saying I don't know because you can't be bothered.
No.
It's saying, look, someone else actually has the right knowledge here.
Precisely. So If, say, a colleague asks you a super detailed question about, I don't know, the new accounting software, and you barely use it,
Right.
saying, I'm probably not the best person for that specific detail, but maybe try David in finance. He'd know for sure. That's way more helpful.
So much better than just, I don't know,
Yeah.
and more professional too.
Okay, now this next strategy was really interesting in the materials. The idea of thinking out loud.
Yeah. Showing you're working, basically.
Exactly. Even if you don't know the final answer yet, you kind of narrate your thought process a bit.
It keeps you in the game, conversationally speaking. Shows you're actually trying to figure it out.
Right. And the sources suggested this can actually invite the other person to chime in, or at least it gives context for why you're unsure.
And the starting phrases for this are pretty simple, aren't they? Like, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe, I suppose.
hmm So imagine someone asks, why do you think people are spending so much time on that new app?
Okay. Instead of, I don't know, you could try.
Well, I guess maybe it's because it connects them with old friends. Or, I suppose it could be the gaming element.
Exactly. You're offering a thought, a possibility. It keeps the dialogue open. It shows you're thinking about it.
Even if you're not totally certain, it's collaborative.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears a little. What about more formal settings? Business English, that kind of thing.
Yeah, here, a simple, I don't know, can really sound, well, unprofessional, maybe unprepared.
Definitely. The sources really pushed for alternatives that sound more responsible.
Phrases that imply you're going to do something about the lack of information, taking ownership.
Exactly. We saw things like, I'm afraid I don't have that information right now.
Very polite, acknowledges the gap.
Or, let me look into that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Shows clear initiative.
Yeah, action-oriented.
And I'll find out and let you know. That's a direct promise to follow up.
All of those sound so much better than just leaving your boss or client hanging with an, I don't know.
Totally. It changes the whole perception, doesn't it? From,
Right.
I don't know and that's the end of it, to, I don't know right this second, but I'll fix that. The material also grouped together phrases for offering your sort of best guess, but carefully. Like, I believe.
I think.
Or I'm not exactly sure, but
Right. So if your manager asks, when are the clients arriving?
instead of, I don't know, maybe, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe the schedule said 3 p.m.
Perfect. It gives the most likely info you have, but flags that it's not 100% certain yet.
It's that balance, confidence, but also honesty about the certainty level.
Okay, to make this really stick, let's maybe just quickly run through a few scenarios, see how these sound in actual back and forth.
Sounds good. You asked me something where I might not have the solid answer.
Okay, how about, what do you think the traffic will be like getting home tonight?
Oof. Not sure. It was pretty bad yesterday around this time, so maybe leave a bit earlier. Using I'm not sure, then thinking out loud.
Nice. Okay, how about, why wasn't Maria at the planning meeting this morning?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe she had a deadline. Something must have come up. That casual, I have no idea fits well there.
Yep, sounds natural. Okay, let's try that good question one right. What does this abbreviation mean on the report yo-yo?
Ah, yo-yay. That's a good question. I think it stands for year over year, but let me just quickly confirm that. Buys that little bit of thinking time.
Great. Okay, one more. Let's use one of the more professional ones. Imagine a colleague asks about something outside your project.
Okay, like, do you know if the Q3 budget report has been finalized?
Yeah, perfect. And maybe you have no direct involvement. How would you reply using what we discussed?
I'd probably say something like, I'm not the best person to ask about the final sign-off on that one.
Okay.
But I can find out who has the latest status for you. Or maybe, let me look into where that report is tracked.
Excellent. Yeah, it's honest, it's polite, and it actually points towards a solution. Shows responsibility.
Or never pretending you know something you don't. That's key.
Okay, so just to wrap up the toolkit we've built from the sources today, let's quickly list them.
Good idea. So we had 1, I'm not sure.
The simple classic.
2, I have no idea.
More casual.
3, let me check and get back to you.
Showing an initiative.
4, that's a good question.
Buys time. Sounds thoughtful.
5, I'm not the best person to answer that.
Honest and redirects.
6. Thinking out loud with, I guess? Maybe? I suppose?
Shows your process.
7. I'm afraid I don't have that information right now.
Polite and professional.
8. Let me look into that for you.
Proactive.
9. I'll find out and let you know.
Clear follow-up promise.
And 10. Offering a careful guess with, I believe, I think, I'm not exactly sure.
Right. Balancing helpfulness and accuracy. That's a really solid range of options. Covers a lot of ground.
It really does. And I think the main takeaway from digging into all this is that, sounding fluent or capable isn't really about knowing everything off the top of your head.
No, it's more about how you handle those moments when you don't know, isn't it?
Exactly. Using these kinds of alternatives shows you're flexible, you're polite, and you're confident enough to navigate a bit of uncertainty.
Yeah, these little language shifts can make such a big difference to how a conversation feels, how it flows, and how people see you, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. It's not just filling the gap. It's about keeping that connection going, showing you're engaged.
So the best way to get comfortable.
Just start listening for those moments. Next time you instinctively go to say, I don't know, maybe just pause. Try one of these instead. See how it feels.
Good advice. Perhaps real strength in communication isn't always about having all the answers, but maybe it's more about how gracefully, how constructively you handle the moments when you don't.
That's a great thought. Something to maybe try out in your very next conversation.